All right, here's the intro of this video. It's basically gonna be about, I would say it's the world's first actual custom built haptic seat into a racing chair, not just an overlay type of deal. So in here, we have actual speakers built into the seat that came from the factory of the actual seat rather than actually buying a kit. Now, the reason I did this is because I didn't particularly like the way the seat that I bought was laid out. It had two speakers here, and then it had four speakers, one here on your basically your love handles, and then you had the other two in the back here. And I thought that was kind of a little bit, I understood how they wanted to probably have more feedback in the back of the whole thing, but not in the shaker seat. And the seat just made more sense to me because it felt like you have more placement on your thighs and all that kind of jazz. And then you just really need two on your back, right on your spine, and it vibrates just, you know, fantastic. But this is the unit we're talking about today. We're gonna go ahead and get into it right now. So I had just recently discovered while trying to figure things out, and it was a total accident. I was going to be building kind of a thing like this. It's just a little memory foam pad and stuff, and this is the Sim Racing Studios kind of situation. This is the original seat that they have, which is the 4-puck design, which are these guys. These are about 20 bucks on Amazon, or you can get like a 4-pack for 71 bucks, what I did. So I got two, and then I got these. So I spent a little over 100 bucks for 6 of these things. I got the amplifier coming from SRS, coming probably in the next few days. Here's the cool part that I did not realize. When I bought this racing seat, okay, these panels, okay, I was going to put the pucks inside of this, which actually worked. I put one up here and one down here, and then I keep the original seat like they have here where you got 4. I like having them up in the front and in the back, but this is neat, and I did not know this about these seats. Check it out. They're just Velcroed in. So this is the hard part that I don't want the thing sitting against, but realistically, all I really need to do now is take these pucks, put them behind here in the place that I want, have the wires come out, and then I just have to put this Velcro back. And the same thing for underneath this. Once we remove this guy, check this out. The bottom seats also are Velcroed in. So now I can just put the pucks inside here, one on here, one on here, and it's very simple to get in because it's just Velcroed. So I just have to put them on the bottom here, and they'll sit there with a little bit of extra padding, so I'm not feeling, I'll still feel the vibration, but I'm not going to get any kind of like harsh, you know, feel from the actual bottom of the pad and stuff like that. And then they just snap back in place. The way it works, you can see that's an audio interface, but typically audio interfaces only have a 2-channel, like they have a left and right, you know, for speakers like this. Now those speakers are powered, so that's an unpowered device, but it is a USB audio interface. Is all it has to do is find a audio device. And so this one right here is the audio device. That's the original. And so that right there is more than just an audio interface. It's actually a power amp as well. And so what you do is you just go down your list of everything that's in here, and you can see I've got headphones and everything like that. And I was like, well, wait a minute. If it's just telemetry data in the form of sound, because these are just speakers, I tested my Arctic Nova Pro headset, which is just that guy over there, and I was able to set it to left and right and do the test, and boom, it worked. So you can see when we do the test, oh, it's got to be powered on. Once it's powered on, you can hear each speaker. And so all I had to do was just confirm that. So any audio device that has a power amp that sends it out, you could technically do this with just 2 speakers if you wanted to do it with, you know, some kind of an audio interface that had like powered speakers or something like that, something that could just power the speakers themselves, but you'd have to run them through an audio interface. But theoretically, you could do that to anything. And since the speakers in that are powered, because it's obviously headphones, it's wireless, it's got a little power amp in each one of the speakers. So it does work. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use their box, the U-Shake 6. But the reason I didn't like the first one failed, which was very unfortunate, but the company did a great job, sent me all the money back and everything like that. But I love the company and I love continuing to use it. But this particular seat is going to go over on this particular rig, because the one thing that I really miss, it's not so much the motion simulation, but it's absolutely
the connection to the vehicle, especially when you're in VR. You need something. I mean, you can fly without it, but it's just really, really dull, and it's just not that entertaining. So the last part of it is just figuring out those Molex connections is going to come through. Now, this one right here actually has this kind of a round kind of doohickey, which is a whole specific cable for that. So all the cables are running into that, and it's a very nice, effective design for all of those. But the trick I'm going to have to do is just solder them all together, make a single line, and we'll start popping those things together, figuring it out. But I think that's just awesome that I can sit there and just remove these, put these back in place, and bam, works. I am looking at this new toolkit that I got. This is specifically for Molex and everything like that. So this is a Molex extraction tool, which it came with. And this is a crimping tool. It basically bites down and then releases, and then you can put the little pieces in there, crimp them down with the wire, and it locks, and then you can just bite out and do this. So that's super cool. This tool, like on Amazon, was like $29 or $26 or something like that. Very, very nice, heavy, good quality tool. And this right here itself was like, I think like $15 or $16 by itself. So I thought I was going to get these particular tools individually, but when I was going to buy the Molex parts for the connectors for back here, okay, I had to get very specific versions for this so I can, you know, have a breakaway for that. But it came with all of these. Check this out. So it's a nice flip on this side, all very well organized. This is a great little case. I mean, I love this case. It's something that, you know, I don't know if I'm ever going to use. I'm never going to use these pieces, probably beyond this particular kit. But it's really nice that they come with so many different options, and they get the different hubs and stuff. So I'll figure something out. Maybe I'll use them for like guitar pedals or whatever. But it's got all the little crimps and little pieces and stuff like that. So I just need to grab one of these two. Get this little male here. This should work, and then I should be able to get another one of these, which is the 4 here, and let's check out and see if it fits in here. So let's see for the win. Look at that, perfect fit, and another one. Perfect fit. Look at that. All right. So I can, for the kit that I spent on these things individually, just one of these was like $10 on Amazon, which I think is stupid. I mean, come on, this is a piece of plastic. This was $9. So these would have been $20 plus the tools. So if you buy this kit, put it up in the description and stuff like that. But this is great. It already comes with all the different little individual pieces that I can put in there. So all I have to do is snap the wires on there, throw these suckers in there, and I've got my breakaway cables. Boom. That is freaking awesome. So you do have to be careful that you get these, they are keyed. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see some of them are round, some are squared, but they are the perfect fit for this kind of thing. So super, super excited about this. I'll go ahead and crimp them down and ready to rock. All right, so take yourself a 9-volt, plug the positive to the positive, negative to the negative, and you will get a, now you know it works. Same thing over here. And then you know it works. It won't damage it. 9 volts definitely won't hurt it. We just test that with it in speakers, but that's how you do it. Test any speaker to make sure. Also, if you did it this way, it'll still work. But what it'll do is it'll change the polarity from pushing up to pushing in. That's how it works. So the positive and the negative. If you flip those things and you get those things wrong, they'll actually still work, but they'll be out of phase. So any of you audio nerds out there, totally get that. But yeah, test your speakers. So here is our twisted cables. And the way I just did it is green is ground, black is ground. That's the easiest way to know which one the wires are. So we've got pretty much that set. This is an odd one out. And then we've got these. So here's another little product that I had to get. I wanted to keep everything clean because all the wires are, you know, just separate and that kind of stuff, and I didn't want to, you know, just put a whole bunch of like cable ties around them, you know, it's like the Velcro, you know, type of deals. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to put everything through this, so I have a single braided cable. So this is the I guess it's the 1/2 inch, and they have a 1/4 inch, so I'll probably use that for some other different things down the road. But you just basically open it up, and it's just kind of a cool, like a braided cable, keep everything nice and organized. But I think I can fit everything through there, and it's expandable, as you can see, so it's really nice webbing. Get it a few different colors, but it was actually pretty cheap. It was only like $14 for like 50 feet. Actually, it was like 100 feet. for 2 different ones. So it came in a package of 2. But that's what I'm going to be able to throw all the cables through, which I'm very excited about. Keep everything clean. All right, so I think the best thing for me, because I don't want to go through here because the wires will be out in the front, side is obviously going to be best. So I'm just going to take this boning knife, which is awesome and super, super sharp. So it's going to kind of bring a little cut here. Keep going in. So that way I can see if I can just put that puck in there. See what that looks like. Slide that sucker in. And hell yeah. That doesn't really increase the size of the pad at all. I'll definitely feel the rumble through that. And done. That's really cool. So let me check with the battery how much, kind of, see if I can do. I can get it to where I can just kind of touch it together. I'm gonna feel it like this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll definitely be able to feel that rumble. Sweet. Okay, so I'm very happy with that. Good amount of padding. Might be actually a little bit too much, but the thing is I don't think I'm gonna need my seat cover anymore. So I'll just get the padding, or the, yeah, I don't feel that puck at all. So when I'm sitting on there, I'll still feel the vibrations and everything like that, but I won't have any of the negative, because the other foam that was, kind of a squishy, very easy push down, that's kind of the foam that was in the original padding, and after a while it was irrelevant, and so I could actually feel like sitting on the pucks, and I could feel the outlines of those type of things, very uncomfortable. So I put one of those, like a micro, or not micro, what the hell are they called, gel, whatever, don't remember what it's called. Anyways, a seat cover, memory foam, thank you. But it was a memory foam pad that I put over the top of it, and it's good, and it just keeps that there. But the other thing, and the reason I did that, is because the pucks actually do get pretty hot after about an hour of use, and so that's the one thing you have to consider. I'm gonna figure out a way, see if I can cut all the way through this. I should be able to get all the way through this. Yeah. So if I slice all the way down, I can get that where I need it to be. From the other side, and then run the wire all the way to this. So I got 2 wires from that. I'm gonna have to bridge those in there. But yeah, this is going to be a cool solution.
Well, there you have it. This is the seat in the back, seat in the front, tested. All the wires are ready to go. This one I taped up, didn't need the extra padding. And subwoofer and surround sound, or basically center speakers, it doesn't make any difference. They all transmit the same data. All these speakers essentially are going to be transmitting exactly the same telemetry, so it doesn't really matter what they're saying. It's because it's not like a piece of music or something like that where you want the violins over there and the bass over there and all that kind of stuff. It's all that, but we did need to know what these are, because you want the telemetry data to go into the brain. Giggity. But I think I figured it out. Awesome experience. And the cool part is none of these are really expanded past what they were intended to do. So I get to just put these back. Been an adventure. All right, checked all the lines, plugged them in. There we go. Got our cables. They should just go right into that little guy right there. So everything's hooked up, ready for test, but the only thing I don't have is a USB-A mini cable. But it's a good thing. I have more cables than Best Buy. Ridiculous. Stupid amounts of cables. And I actually usually bag them up, so this might actually be the bag that I need. I don't know what this is. Eureka! Found a whole bag that I've actually taken apart, and it look at that. USB-A cable. Should be long enough, and that's all we need. This is where the rubber meets the road. Turn it on, and we'll hear the sound. And we heard it. All right, so here's what we're gonna do is we're gonna zoom in on the configuration of the 5.1 for the Windows setup, and we just hit the test button and see if all of the speakers work. And it works. Itty for the win! Eh. All right, so this is the system just in the cold start. Jump in here. And I don't know why, but even before you hit the fly, you have to hear this crazy rumble. But here's what we're gonna do. So we hear all this kind of stuff. Now I'm just gonna do a quick cold start, just so you guys can kind of hear how all these things go. There's a tremendous amount of rumble through the entire seat, through the back, through, I mean, the whole seat. I mean, just by holding the sides of this thing, it's just completely vibrating like crazy, which is pretty awesome. But, and the girls will love it, I'll tell you that. We're gonna just go ahead and flip on the APU here, just so you guys can kind of hear what the sound is. Take off the doors. All right, APU is on. Let's go ahead and get the engines kicked on. All right. Good. Let's go ahead and take them out of T10. So this should be noted. There's two different pitches that you can do. So if you get a shake, this is on enhanced right now, which is a different mode, but when I go to the original, you hear the pitch change here. So it's almost kind of a more of a silence, not silence, but more of a just kind of a general rumbling. But this really kind of has the sound of the engines. So this feels more of kind of like a low rumble, but we'll just go ahead and turn off the APU here. All right, pretty much ready to fly. And again, this is on the original sound. I know you can't see what I'm doing while I'm flying, but this is all about really kind of the sound, more than less. And see if I can do this without crashing, because I gotta change screens here. Put this back on the enhanced. And now you can hear some additional kind of rumble, whatever that is. And so, like it or not, you can change it between the two. I kind of like the enhanced because it really does give you a little bit more, like when you're going into VRS, it'll kind of tell you things that you wouldn't normally hear in the other settings and stuff like that. So it really does help you descend, which is a really, really nice feature. And all the weapons and all the other jazz, they, you know, you feel them just the same. depending on how much you have each speaker kind of assigned. Now, I've got this thing pretty loud, and I'll tell you what's funny is my friends, when I fly with them and I share my screen live, they're like, what in the hell is that sound? So I think it's kind of hilarious because the seat, as you can hear it rumbling down, it'll make an enormous amount of chatter. And now that the engines are off, it's settling down, and you don't hear anything. Now, what I don't understand, open the doors. So, I still feel a rumble, you know. Everything's off, but it's still kind of just going. I don't know if that's why that is because of DCS, but it is what it is. But that is kind of what happens with this whole shake system thing. So just be prepared to annoy the shit out of your friends. Like I've got it paused right now. I don't know what kind of throat gargling this is. I mean, nothing's going on in DCS, but you still hear this kind of crazy stuff. So it's kind of funny. Anyways, I'll go to quit to desktop and you'll hear it stop. Yeah. So anyways, that's the intensity of the entire seat. The whole freaking thing shakes. I mean, the bottom parts, the side parts, everything is in here. When you're in there, you are seriously connected to this aircraft. And again, I don't even miss so much the motion and the shifting and the yaw and everything like that. So, you know, the $7,000-8,000 investment of the actual motion simulator is kind of trumped by having a haptic seat. Now, I've did this review between the SRS and the Next Level Racing, and I really don't like to say negative things about too many things, but you know, the Next Level Racing support team was just not great. They were, unfortunately, they were just not kind of on the level that I expected them to be. Their video seemed really good. I was really excited about the product. I believe it or not, when I got into this, I thought I was buying the SRS seat. You know, I thought, oh, they came out with the new blah, blah, blah. It came with all these different types of speakers. The big thing is that was a more of a, it just buzzed and it didn't really do very much for me. It was just kind of buzz, bzz, bzz, bzz. It didn't have a kind of a build up, and it didn't use any kind of sound telemetry. And it didn't have any engine feedback, which was really crazy because every time you start an aircraft, especially in DCS, that's one of the things you like to do is do a cold start. You know, you learn all your buttons and switches and you map everything. You want to feel it turn on and engage. The other system just didn't have that. There's a video I put up there that you can check out. I'll put it in the link here. But it really is not to say so much bad things about any kind of company and everything like that. There's always room for improvement. I'm in construction, I know. But at the same point in time, it's just, you know, policy is kind of one of those things. You never want to stand behind policy. If the right thing to do is the right thing to do, don't do the policy by default because that's stupid. Look into the problem first and then solve the problem accordingly based off of that particular situation. But just to sit there and blindly say, oh, you got to pay a 25% restocking fee and you got to pay to ship it back to us. And it's like, dude, this thing didn't even work when I got it. It just didn't even work because the problem was when I bought it, this thing, it was so big, it pushed me forward, and it was like I felt like I was like up against the steering wheel like this trying to drive. It was just, I couldn't have it on this seat because of the way it was actually designed. I put it on the other system, which was being used with a Reverb G2 and Steam VR, and it just did not work. I tried it with the TV and it worked, and when I put it in the Steam VR, it didn't. They didn't have any solve for this. Technical support was no help. And when they, you know, basically got behind the whole thing and started shitting on me saying, hey, you're going to have to pay to return it, I was like, that's just ridiculous. So I went online and I gave them some shit. You know, I went on everybody's, you know, text on their Facebook and YouTube comments and all that kind of stuff and started posting all these type of things. And then all of a sudden, guess what they did? Here's a return label and we'll waive the restocking fee. Well, it's like, if you could have done that, you should have led with that. You know, that's all I'm saying. If you could have done that, you know, for a product that didn't work, you should have led with that. Say, hey, you know, we'll take it back. No problem. You know, let's get some user feedback from you so we can improve our product. But they didn't do that. Now, I will say this. I've had my own little troubles with, sim racing studios. The first seat that I got the full seat, the U-Shape 6 kit, and it was $400. But after it was like 80 something dollars in shipping from Hong Kong, plus the tariff, which was like $54, plus the tax, you're talking almost $600 for a shake seat. It's like, damn, that's a lot of money. I mean, you could buy a PS5 for that. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a whole system. So here's the thing. This particular design, at the end of the day, wasn't that much cheaper. But I like to do custom stuff, and I like to learn how things work, okay? So that's why I did what I did the way I did it, okay? Now, to their credit, okay, and I love this company for this, okay? They're not perfect. They have some goofy things that have to be worked out on their website and what they sell and how they sell it, but I'm just going to tell you, at the end of the day, they do the right thing, okay? It's not like you got to battle with them for the most part, but you got to kind of pose an argument of like, hey, really? And then they're like, yeah. And then they're like, okay. And it's kind of that easy. So they're real good about taking care of the customer. So I absolutely 100% endorse Sim Racing Studios as a full company, as a builder, the way that they do the telemetry. I'm looking forward to, maybe even partnering with them to promote their products, because they really are outstanding. And I will tell you this, after it's all said and done, I really do not want to fly without having this ability to have the system in place, because it just connects you to the aircraft in a way that you just aren't when you're not there. And the Next Level Racing, I hope that they figure out some way to create engine haptic feedback and all sorts of different things, and maybe create pulses and musical type of senses instead of just buzzing, because I think that's a little bit the wrong way to do it. But anyways, that's my overall spiel. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't hurt yourself. Don't cut near your junk with a freaking boning knife. That's freaking idiotic. I'm a moron. But hey, I'm a moron. I admit that. So just be careful. Don't hurt yourself. And if you do have a seat that has this type of padding and stuff like that, you can build this. It's not going to be cheap. You got to do a lot of like making stuff and soldering stuff and cables and twisting, and it's a lot of stuff. But I mean, I like custom stuff. I mean, look at this crazy rig. And I got wood planks here and all that kind of stuff. All this stuff is nuts, But this is just the way, DCS isn't for kids. See you next time. Itty out. Lost my sandal.